Now let's turn to F1. Ferrari have launched their SF21 car ahead of the upcoming F1 season. Craig Slater joins us more for that. Craig, I suppose Ferrari will have to hope that this car is significantly better than what they've produced recently. And I suppose it's easy to underestimate, perhaps in this country, the pressure they're under.
Absolutely right. This is one of the big days in the Italian sporting calendar. Live television coverage of the Ferrari launch every year. The team assemble, all tailored in their Armani blazers. It's a big, big event. They've got the chairman of the Fiat Chrysler organisation, John Elkann, talking about it being the moment of truth as the new car is revealed. Here it is, and it needs to be a much improved car, this, because last season Ferrari was 6th in the constructors' standings, their worst year since 1980. The reason behind it, well, Enzo Ferrari always used to say, the engine is the beating heart of the car. Well, that engine had a problem around it last year. Technical directives at the start of the year robbed it of maybe 50 or 60 horsepower. And that meant that the car was designed all wrong in a sense, because the aerodynamics are designed around how much power you have. So the end result was an underpowered, draggy car, which really, well, it was extremely disappointing. Didn't give Sebastian Vettel or Charles Leclerc any real chance to do much last season. So it's a completely revamped engine, revamped aerodynamics, new front wing. You'll have seen, some viewers will have seen a slightly tighter rear end of the car as well. And maybe that could give them up to half a second, which, if it did, would project them right back into the top 3 in terms of the quickest cars. But the guy who is now their lead driver, we must assume, Charles Leclerc, who partners Carlos Sainz this season, certainly appreciates that car needs to be better.
There are cars from the past that I've driven that maybe don't feel particularly good, but then you are competitive, and then others that felt really good in terms of performance, but at the end were not that competitive. And at the end, I would rather have a car that feels bad, but that is very, very competitive. So yeah, to tell you exactly what I want from it, I don't know. I just want it to be more competitive than last year, and then I'll adapt my driving around it to make it as competitive as it can be.
So that's all the cars anyway, Craig. So sort of the automotive fashion show has been rolled out. Any other cars catch your eye?
Yeah, we've had them all now. Ferrari perhaps placed to make the biggest step forward, if you like. The interesting question is, could Mercedes conceivably take a step back? Lewis Hamilton's been doing a few interviews with Sky Sports F1, and it's been put to him, well, you're going to cruise towards an 8th world title, aren't you? And Hamilton said, well, no, because at the end of last season, Red Bull won the last Grand Prix. McLaren were only a 1/10 of a second behind us in qualifying, and now they've got our engine. Red Bull in particular, as we move into pre-season testing, which will be covered live on Sky Sports F1, we'll have updates across the weekend from Friday to Sunday here on Sky Sports News as well. There may be the most interesting car. They had a launch, but they did not show a single frame that contained any revisions, which we know they have worked on quite extensively for this season. So they are being very secretive, and when they're being secretive, you just assume that they've got something to be secretive about. So that would be the hope, that Max Verstappen can challenge Lewis Hamilton this year. We had great races last year. It would be really good if we get a great championship this year.
Yeah.
Sky's 10th year, by the way, of covering Formula One.
OK, well, we hope for a tight finish with Lewis Hamilton, I suppose, at the top for many fans in this country. Thank you, Craig.